after me, 'cause they know I'm on the rise. Get the attention, I'm on a mission, 'cause ever since I flipped that switch, my power can't be denied. Oh my, 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 oh my, my, my. Call me a king, buy me a crown. Oh my, 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 oh my, my, my. I'm leveled up, and this is my world now. This is my world now. So anyone who try to write me off, tell them they can go and write this down. This is my world now. Get the attention, I'm on a mission, I'm there with a vision. I got a passion, making it happen, ready for action. And this is my world now. This is my world now. So anyone who try to write me off, tell them they can go and write this down. This is my world now. So anyone who try to write me off, tell them they can go and write this down. This is my world now. And this is my world now. And this is my world now. And this is my world now. This is my world now. Hey! Here we go! We coming ready or not, you better steady yourself, because we're raising some hell. There's nothing keeping this roof from blowing off. We're taking over the town, hit the switch and shut it down. Like Indian, we're electric, never stop. We coming ready or not, we coming ready or not. We're giving all that we got, we're giving all that we got. We're coming ready or not. We're throwing gas on the fire, the stratosphere getting high. We're trouble when we get crazy, we get wild. Got dynamite in our blood, get ready and buckle up. When we go big, we blow up in ferocious style. We coming ready or not, we coming ready or not. We giving all that we got, we giving all that we got.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Our family started RVing a few years ago, and when I think about all those campfires and fishing trips and sporting events, these are memories that are going to last a lifetime. I want to help others do the same thing. Hi, I'm Kevin Smith, General Manager at the all-new CLICKIT RV in Milton Freewater. People in this community are very familiar with this location and the great service they've always received. So the biggest question we get is, where is Keith? The great news is, Keith is still here.
I've seen a lot of changes. I've seen a lot of things come and go. Through all the changes that we have seen, one thing that has not changed for us is the quality of our service.
Buying an RV is a big purchase, but it should be a fun and happy experience. So whether it be in sales or service or parts, our mission is simple: be the best. From our team here at CLICKIT RV in Milton Freewater, we invite you to come down and experience the difference.
Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to coverage of iRacing on LSRTV, simulcast on the Community Radio Network. We're ready to go for another round of the Northwest CLICKIT RV Fixed Setup Series. Tonight, we're at Darlington Raceway. If you thought Monday's race was exciting, I think we're going to see a very, very second exciting helping of coverage here tonight at Darlington. No doubt about it. We welcome you to coverage. I'm Wesley Outland. Jason Rockefeller is alongside, and Charles Wooten is working on our broadcast behind the scenes as always. Thanks to Rocket Racing Media, Jeff Stabdown, and all the crew. Jason, I bring you to the fold now, brother. I think we're going to see probably what could be the best race of the year, and that's a big understatement because we've seen some phenomenal Northwest Fixed Setup Series racing this 2023 season.
Yeah, I mean, if anything's going to be like Kansas, I'm all in, man. Kansas was a hell of a show. Obviously, had some technical difficulties, on some ends, due to weather and stuff like that. But regardless,
Sure.
One heck of a race. And tonight, Darlington, the Lady in Black, too tough to tame. I just got done calling the Martin Sports Truck Series over on Nerd TV. That race, single file, spread out trucks, open setup, not going to be the same like tonight. Fixed Setup Series, the Xfinity cars, more horsepower, lack of grip, low downforce package. It's going to be a blast to watch these Northwest CLICKIT RV Fixed Setup Series drivers tackle the Lady in Black, the track that's known as Too Tough to Tame, opened back in 1950. This track is so historic. Obviously, one of the marquee events, one of the marquee races and tracks on the NASCAR calendar and schedule. So many fans love it. I love it. You love it. I'm sure Charles loves it. Everybody in the racing, in the racing spectrum absolutely loves this racetrack, and I'm sure we're in for a really good show here tonight.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, it's NASCAR Throwback Weekend for the Goodyear 400 this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at Darlington Raceway. I was there working the NASCAR playoffs Labor Day of last year, but I will tell you that obviously tickets are still available for that event. I know Danny Lockamy and Daniel Lockamy will be Kerry Tharp will be completely fine with me telling you that. So, but yeah, strap in, because if you've never seen Darlington Raceway in real life and you're kind of new to this on iRacing, you're going to see, I think, a very good sample of it tonight. So, going into tonight's round number 9 here at Darlington, by the way, 125 laps, 163, close to 164 miles as they went into with the trucks. And remember, Jason and Terry Radford will be along with Daniel Falkenham tomorrow night for the next round, with just 2 races remaining in the Road to Pro qualifying series, and Darlington is on the schedule. Sean Brightsman has a 20-point lead coming into tonight's event over Paul Newton. Right there, 32 points back is Stephen O'Hare, 58 points back is Tyler King. I'm telling you right now, there is a phenomenal battle. Though it's right now the top 10 separated by less than 100 points, it could fluctuate either way with the changing of the guard with how they do on the track tonight.
Yeah, and honestly, I like to tie in my little NASCAR fantasy games that I play with my friends, because we have fantasy lineups and teams, however many points they equivalent all together, and they earn. You know, you might have one bad race weekend, and then you have a good race weekend the next, and it just that one race can drop you down so many points. And you say the top 10 separated by less than 100 points, or is all grouped up within 100 points or less together. Anything can happen. This racetrack, too tough to tame. We're going to stress that a lot tonight here, Wesley. I mean, this is one of the most abrasive surfaces, one of the hardest tracks to drive, and by far probably, to some guys on virtual and in real life, one of the best and most fun racetracks to drive on. I myself, one of the guys, I love racing here, but oh my gosh, I'm abysmal. You know, it's a fun track to drive. If you're guys out here tonight like Ryan Gormley, Ryan Bloom, Josh Marcy, who right now are up at the top of the board, is what it looks like in practice or qualifying. They're guys who want to try to have a good night. Then you see guys, Paul Newton, I believe he came to the top 5 just last week. Dan West Jr., Devin West won at Dover just last week too. A lot of guys, you either really love this racetrack, kind of like Dover, or you really hate it. It's a driver's racetrack just like Dover was. You want to make sure that you have whatever it takes to try to go out here, keep the tires as fresh as you can, and for the love of everything that's holy, stay off that wall. You do not want a Darlington stripe, because it will kill your virtual race car.
Yeah, you gotta try to use the wall to help you get around the safer barrier to make that move, but don't hit it. Don't damage your race car for sure. Got one more question for you. By the way, you better cut that air conditioner on as we go to on-track activity beside you there, Jason, because I think it's going to be one hot night at Darlington. My final question for you. Oh, and by the way, I want to also mention this before that question. It's throwback night for the Northwest this week at Darlington. We saw a lot of throwbacks on the trucks for the Northwest Truck Series. I have no doubt that also there'll be throwback cars for tonight's Northwest CLICKIT RV Fix Setup Series. But my question for you, Jason, is can anybody stop the West Virginia family? They are dominating in the last 6 sanctioned Northwest events. They've won on dirt and pavement. Devin West, by the way, has gone 2 weeks in a row, and he won last week as well.
Yeah, and I mean, and they finished 1-2 as far as I'm concerned on here just this past Monday for the Truck Series, you know, and it very well could be like that here tonight. And in fact, right now, as the leaderboard stands, as we look at Seth Frazier, the number 2 machine, Devin West and Father Dan West are both 1-2 up on the board. And they're not just 1-2 up on the board. They have nearly 2/10 of a second on the field right now in qualifying. That's a huge gap for Darlington, man. 2/10 of a second can go a long way here tonight, whether it be on the racetrack, whether it be in qualifying practice, whatever it may be. So they're out here tonight, and they came to play, baby, because this is a racetrack that's going to be very tough, very abrasive. Tires are going to wear out very quickly. Damage is going to be key. You don't want to hit the wall like Carl Burst almost does right there in the center of 1 and 2. It's going to be absolutely abysmal out there with grip here tonight, and you really, really want to stay off that wall and prevent yourself from getting a kiss from the lady in black.
Watching Carl Burke, again, as you just mentioned, the JRM Racing entry working his way around the racetrack. There's the Win Racing Bomb Speed Chevrolet Camaro of Clifford. Toby Ritters, we'll see what he can do here. Thanks for everybody that's watching, listening as well. We are CRN.com worldwide, 87.9 FM if you're in the JOCO, Johnston County, Raleigh, North Carolina area. All of this going on as we see qualifying happening here on the track at Darlington right now. Some of these drivers just keeping an eye on Kevin Smith. Ironically, Jason, at the top of the board, he set fast time in the truck on Monday night as well here at Darlington.
Yeah, and we keep talking about Clifford. You know, he's been doing such a great job over the last few weeks, whether it be in the trucks or the CLICKIT RV Fixed Setup Series. And this guy as well, right here, Jeff Stabnow, won that race at Kansas in an absolute barn burner of a finish. And here he is tonight. He wants to get that LSRTV Ford Mustang up at the front of the field with that iconic number 24. Obviously, the 24 means so much here at Darlington, being made famous by Jeff Gordon. So Jeff wants to try to get another win here up on the board in the Northwest CLICKIT RV Fixed Setup Series here tonight. But also Kevin Smith, the guy who is part of CLICKIT RV. Can you believe how good he's done in these practice and qualifying sessions? And somehow, some way, nothing has gone right for the Walla Walla, Washington native practically all season long across both series.
Yeah, it's been an up and down roller coaster year, some highs and lows for the driver of the 00. We'll see what happens here right now. There's the LSRTV 4K CRN Ford. Jeff Stabnow had a pretty eventful race on Monday as well. We'll see what he can do in his car. All these drivers working around the racetrack right now. Kevin Smith, the man to beat the bump of the 29.54, 29.60 for Devin West, obviously the winner at Darlington. Here is the Chris White Racing.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Carl Edwards throwback to when he drove the Ares car, if you will. That's his last ride in NASCAR competition when he was driving, of course, in the Cup Series, and Christopher White has a tribute for him now in that race car there, Jason.
Yeah, I absolutely loved practically any Carl Edwards scheme that was always up on the racetrack. Obviously, me being a young gun, 21 years old, I think of Carl in this scheme, but I really think of him in the Office Depot number 99 machine back when he was over at Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing, what it's called now, or Roush Fenway Racing, what it was called back then. Absolutely love Carl Edwards. What a stellar driver. Unfortunate that his career was cut short due to, you know, obviously some issues, you know, with how he felt about racing and family and so forth. But hey, he's going to be in the booth this Sunday on Fox for the Darlington Goodyear 400 this weekend. Very excited to finally hear Carl's voice again. I believe the last time you really got to hear him in NASCAR was when he was on Race Hub about a year or two ago. So great to see Cousin Carl back on the TV side of things. And Chris White got a win at Nashville Superspeedway just earlier this year. He's looking to try to have another good night tonight. But right now up on the board, not looking so hot here, Wesley. Currently 20th on the board, ran a 30.33 that last time around. We'll have to see where he places in. But here comes Ryan Gormley, a driver who's been very, very stout and strong this season here as he works his way into one. As Chris White goes to 6th on the board with a 29.77.
And by the way, speaking of the driver out of Joplin, Missouri, the 99, of course, or the, if you will, driver of the 19 of Carl Edwards, he was also one of the recent 25 drivers inducted as the 25 to now 75 greatest NASCAR drivers in history. So it's pretty cool for him as well. Here goes Ryan Gormley, slap of the wall, getting a Darlington stripe, if you will, off turn number 4. Going to be in about the top 20 right now as qualifying is closing in on mere 5 minutes remaining. Kevin Smith, Devin West, Dan West Jr., Ryan Bloom, William Fletcher, your top 5. Chris White, of course, Sean Brightsman, Joshua Marcy, Toby Ritters, Jeff Stabnow right now, your top 10 in qualifying.
Yeah, you know, and there's just a lot of guys right now who are just hoping that some way, somehow, they can really manage their race here later on. When this race does get going, Wesley, you're either very strong at the beginning of the race, but you got to make sure that you keep the tires on this car, because obviously besides the old Atlanta Motor Speedway now being reconfigured, that's out of the picture. Darlington is one of the oldest surfaces here on the NASCAR schedule, and it's one of the oldest NASCAR sanctioned racetracks This track will eat up tires like a cheese grater, like Larry McReynolds always says. So look for tire wear to be a big factor. You're going to see tire wear all the way for about a 3-second difference from when they post their fast lap on the racetrack to when they have about a 20-40 lap run on those set of Goodyear Eagles. So tire wear going to be very, very key, probably the most key tire wear circumstance all season long is going to be here tonight at Darlington.
And another thing you got to think about here at the track Too Tough to Tame is the abrasiveness of this racetrack, the racing surface, as you mentioned, what's going to be on the tires, on the handling of the car, climbing the wall, okay? We mentioned it earlier. You don't want to hit the wall. You don't want to get one of those bad Darlington stripes. But here's the bottom line. You've got to drive up on the top of the banking here at Darlington Raceway. That's one of the cool things I love about this racetrack. Oh, and by the way, the entrance and the exit of turn 1 and 2 is not the way you enter and exit in 3 and 4, coming off of that Boeing back straightaway to the start-finish line. Let's give you the starting lineup. Round 9 tonight at Darlington. He was the pole truck winner on Monday night. Does the same here for tonight. Walla Walla, Washington's Kevin Smith for Win Racing, the 00. And Team LSRTV, number 5, Devin West, winner on Monday with Daddy behind. And the winner of the last 4 Northwest events, row 1. Row 2, there is Daddy right there, Dan West Jr. Most recent win in the Dirt Super Late Model Series at I-55 last Thursday night. Ryan Bloom, he's got 2 wins on the year in the trucks as well. William Fletcher, the 28. He'll be in the 28 machine to his inside. The Carl Edwards throwback for a former Cup champion, Christopher White in 47. Row 4, Sean Brightsman, 2020 Northwest Cup champion. And Tennessee's Joshua Marcy, so close to going to victory lane last week in Kansas. He'll fire off in 8th. 9th and 10th, Toby Ritters, Clifford. He's got a couple of Northwest wins. And one of the all-time greats of the Northwest Series, Jeff Stabnow from Billings, Montana.
Yeah, and then top 20, row 6, you got Tyler King, Stephen O'Hare, the number 41. All those guys, both those guys in general, always strong no matter what series it is. Row 7, Cole Raz, Brett Johnson in the number 7 machine. Then you got row 8, you got Paul Newton, 27, and Seth Frazier there in the number 2 machine. Row 9, Jaden Ledbetter in the 36, and Carl Burke in the 53. And row 10, rounding out the top 20, Chris Kynes in the 20, and Zach Rush in the 82, Wesley.
Row 11, Ryan Gormley. He's got a truck win to the outside. Aaron Cooper, Bug Eyes in the 71. Row number 12, John Onenbacher, the 89, and B.J. Tidrick with a couple of Northwest Cup victories as well. He's won at Darlington, by the way, back in 2020. Dan Lowther, Troy Daggett, the 99. Row 13, row 14, Ron Hunter. And how about it for the legend Frank Harris? He might be in the back, but he knows how to climb in recent years to the front. And to round out the field, Scott Hutchinson in the 91, Dana Rogers in the 07. 30. Virtual charter members of the Fraternal Order of Go Fast, ready to go. And it looks like Ron Hunter, Scott Hutchinson, and Dana Rogers have not answered the call. So we will have a total of 27 coming down to the green flag unless they start from pit road. The race to distance, 120 laps. That's 164 miles. Weather conditions, bottom right, real quickly, presented by Kaufman Creative. We'll check them out before the green. Look at this, 74, air temp in the sim, track temp 77. Wind is comfortable. It's overcast though. Watch those clouds affect the remaining of this race as we go into the night. Round 9, Darlington. Ladies and gentlemen, you have a virtual race. Hole shot down into turn number 1 is going to go to Kevin Smith, but how long will it last? The West Bentley's holding his tail into turn number 2.
Yeah, father and son hot on his tail off turn number 2. Kevin Smith rallies down that back straightaway with a full head of speed. Everybody kind of single files out here as you see father and son do a red and blue trying to chase down the Walla Walla, Washington native of Kevin Smith, trying to hope for some good luck here tonight as they complete lap 1. It's all Kevin Smith at the front, but Monday night's winner, Devin West, looking to try to say something else.
Well, they were 2 by 2. Now they quickly get single file. They're storming up the bank and out of turn number 2. Kevin Smith with a lead. Devin West right there. Dan West Jr. to third. 1, 2, and 3. That's the way it sits right there as we're getting a little antsy in the back into turn 3.
Yeah, saw some cars jockeying around right there off turn number 2. No harm, no foul. Maybe a little bit of damage caused there. But other than that, no caution. They keep it green. And oh, there's the 7 right there. That's the 7 of Brett Johnson, hard into the inside wall. No caution. It's off the racing surface. Nobody around. That's why iRacing did not throw the yellow flag. Heavy damage right there to both front fenders and front-end damage for Brett Johnson there, the number 7 machine. He's going to have to come in and take a fast repair.
So you're seeing them climb the banking here at Darlington, working their way now back out of turn 4 to the start-finish line. You'll see the white line. It'll come visible as they storm into 1. Look at this right there where the white line was where Kevin Smith just rolled over with the tires. That is the racing groove from the top of that track from the white line. If we see anybody go below that white line, below the racing apron, and there's an accident, it's not Jason going to draw a caution. We saw several cautions or incidents on Monday night and in the past where you think a caution would be thrown, it doesn't happen.
Yeah, well, like we've talked about before over the multiple weeks here of the Northwest Series, the way that iRacing works, especially around the NASCAR-sanctioned tracks, is whenever there is obviously that car sideways, 90 degrees or whatnot below the bottom of the racing surface, below that dotted white line like you talked about right there, like we're seeing in 3 and 4 as the 3 leaders mark their way through 3 and 4, there will not be a caution. Now, if a driver were to come back up at the front of the track or up at the top of the track in the racing groove and he's sideways or very, very slow, then the yellow will come out. But other than that, no yellow for anything below the racing surface.
5 laps into this race of 120 laps the distance here at Darlington. Smith, the leader. There you see him right now on the Boeing back straightaway. Devin West in tow in second. Dan West Jr. right there in third. Noticing some tape on the virtual grill of these cars. What's that going to do to them cars as they work off 4?
Yeah, well, really what it's going to do is, you're going to have a lot of speed there on the straightaways, obviously. It's going to create a little bit more downforce. It's going to make the car handle a little bit better, but you want to make sure that you don't overheat, obviously. You don't want to punch a hole in that front end on the nose and whatnot. You won't want to run into somebody because then it can obviously overheat the radiator. You can blow an engine and whatnot. Your day could be done. You might have to take a fast repair if it's the first time that you just, in fact, have to wreck. And you get what's called the meatball flag in iRacing. When you have the black flag with the orange circle in the middle, everybody calls it the meatball flag. Then you'll have to come in for necessary repairs that are needed to your virtual race car. Hopefully that doesn't happen tonight. But Wesley, you were talking about something earlier right during pre-race. You're seeing a lot of these guys, they're not running the bottom of the racetrack when they enter 1 and 2. They're entering high, diving down low, right below the white line almost, and then coming back up to the wall and then diamonding out of the corner. The outside is the fastest lane around this track, and the reason for that being is because this track is just so tight in the corners. Being on the inside, you're so slow off the corners. That's why everybody migrates up to the top of the racetrack. And because of how unique this racetrack is, the shape of it, obviously, it's so difficult to get around here. That's why this racetrack provides one of the most unique lines in stock car racing.
Yeah, you're exactly right. No doubt about it. Watching now, Chris White battle with Marcy, the Tennessee driver, the Bow Lift entry. Toyota, a couple of Toyotas and Chevrolets battling there. Here comes another Toyota, the Supra, the Till and White machine. Had a, if you will, Martin Truex Jr. throwback purple car on Monday night. Ironically, not seeing a lot of the throwback colors like we saw in the truck race on Monday.
Yeah, that could really just be an issue with training paints and whatnot, because that does happen. The race I was calling earlier had a little bit of that, and then as the race progressed, some paint schemes would load in, some wouldn't. But, you're seeing some paint schemes out here, like that Carl Edwards throwback that Chris White is running. But obviously, it's always such a nice scene to see, obviously, not only the throwbacks here at Darlington, but to see these drivers, especially here on iRacing, fly around this racetrack. We said it in pre-race, Wesley. This track is such an amazing racetrack, from everything from the checkered, walls with the red and white looking classic as always, giving that vibey 80s, late 90s look, to the track surface, to the fans, the area. I mean, practically nothing about this racetrack has changed besides the start-finish line location, which used to be on the back straightaway, I believe, years and years ago, and then got moved to what was the back straightaway and now is obviously the front stretch.
Yeah, the back stretch was the front stretch initially, and then the back straightaway, now known as the Boeing back stretch, was the front stretch. They flip-flopped that around. And now the back stretch on the front straightaway, with they changing everything around with all of the facelift and the constructions and all the things they've done to update the amenities there. Love Darlington, man. Love this track. Love it here. I think they did a phenomenal job to picturesque and blueprint it perfectly. Right now we see Ritters on the inside battling Cole Raz. This is the battle going on for the top 10, and Ritters ain't backing down, trying to get to Fletcher for 8th.
Yeah, and he almost just got into the side of Raz there right in the corner, but you could see great piece of driving there from both Raz and Clifford there. I guess Toby Ritters is throwing a throwback, but I guess to my generation, growing up with Clifford the Big Red Dog and whatnot, absolutely loved Clifford growing up, and obviously always supports the Clifford the Big Red Dog character on the side of his race cars every single week. And but yeah, that was a piece of driving right there by the 23 and the 10 into 3 and 4. Thankfully, nobody got up into the wall, and Raz was able to get around the top side. And that's what you're going to see a lot here tonight. It's very, very tough to pass, and there's not a lot of opportunities to pass. But here we go. You see the 41 Stefan O'Hare. That's a perfect example of what I was talking about. Very hard to pass here. There's not a lot of opportunities, so you got to take every one that you can get here tonight.
Northwest CLICKIT RV fixed setup series tonight from Darlington. Round number 9 of the series. And of course, now we're watching Ritters trying to get around Fletcher to move in to the number 9 position, fighting for it. Raz got in front of both of them, went to 8th. All this also happening as here comes Ledbetter. Jaden Ledbetter to the inside, battling Stefan O'Hare in the 41 in the corner.
Yeah, and they're right now really, really tight. Everybody's really tight here no matter what. If you're single file or not right now, there's battles all over this racetrack. Everybody is starting to fall off just a little bit, Wesley. We're already 16 laps into this event. I talked about this race being one of the marquee events, and not only a marquee event, obviously, being on the NASCAR schedule, and also in the Northwest Division as well, but it's a marquee event for tires, man. This track eats up tires. We are already 16, 17 laps on the board now. We have already dropped almost, if not over, a second in pace since the start of this race. Race leader Kevin Smith, 29.89. I believe that's the fastest lap of the race recorded right now. That was his best lap. That last time around, as they hit lap 18, 30.93, so over a second in lap difference from when they posted the best to what they just ran just 18 laps into this race.
Down the straightaway, working off the Boeing backstretch into turn number 3. There you see the battle for 3rd and 4th as Ryan Bloom trying to reel in the 55 of Dan West Jr. right there in that 3rd spot. Across the line at start finish, working about 100 laps to go. Solid green flag run since things got started. And 120 laps of distance, over 164 miles. This track over a mile in length here at Darlington. And one of the things that I mentioned earlier, Jason, and if we ever do an aerial view of the racetrack from a far view, you can see that this track is egg-shaped. And it's very unique in the way you enter the corners into 1 and 2, differently in the way you enter 3 and 4. Obviously, that's a transition we'll see happen here tonight.
Yeah, and the reason why, and I said this last season for the Northwest Division, I remember when we were talking about when me, you, and Terry Radford were on the call for the Truck Series, I believe it was actually. And the reason that being is because, and here we go, Charles Wooten's got everything dialed in here tonight. You couldn't really see it right there.
Go.
But the reason that this track is egg-shaped is because in turns 3 and 4, it's very much shorter in distance than 1 and 2. 1 and 2 sweeping a little bit. It's kind of much wider, but then when they enter 3 and 4, right outside turn 4, there is a little pond. And when they were building this racetrack years ago, they were not allowed to go over that pond And that's because the landowner said he wanted to keep that pond. It's not part of Darlington Raceway's property as far as I'm concerned. So they had to work around that. And that's why 3 and 4 is so much more unique and different than turns 1 and 2.
That's the story. That's how it all came about. As Jason said, there was a pond. The owner was being kind of liberal, if you will, and saying, no, you're not going to take my pond and tear it apart. And they offered him big money, by the way. And he said no. But anyhow, long story short, that's why the track is configured differently in different parts of the spectrum. And you saw from some of the aerial views of it, it's like an egg-shaped track, if you will, here at Darlington Raceway. Under 100 laps to go. We've been clean and green. I don't want to jinx anything since it's all got started. And now the battle for third continues. Best battle on the racetrack. Ryan Bloom and DWJ down into turn 3.
Yeah, and DWJ's trying to get away from him. Right now, he's actually up and into the wall right now. Slapping the wall, entering turn number 3. That's going to enable Ryan Bloom to get around him. Daddy goes to the bottom right there. That's going to enable Sean Brightsman, winner from Mid-Ohio and Homestead this season, to go around the top. So Dan West Jr., DWJ, whatever you want to call him, Big Daddy, he lost not only 1 but 2 spots right there off turn number 4 just from slapping the wall right there. Don't know if there was contact made entering 3. It didn't really look like it. It looked like the 55 Wesley just got a little bit higher than usual, slapped the wall, caught that wall glue, as some of us like to call it, and couldn't get off of it, lost 2 spots because of it.
Nice save, and somehow keeping it under his own power without losing control, and I'll take that as an attaboy. All this going on with Sean Brightsman now with that number 4 position. He's in 4th. Dan West Jr. falls all the way back to 5th. That allowed, by the way, Devin West in 2nd, and Ryan Bloom got around him. So does Brightsman, and their teammates right there in, if you will, the 2nd, 4th, and 5th position on track.
Yeah, and they're doing a great job here tonight so far. And I tell you what, Wesley, looking at the last times, Kevin Smith's been faster than Devin West the last couple of laps. Obviously, Devin being the winner from Monday night's truck event that you and Justin Prince called. And Kevin Smith, though, he's been really running identical lap times to Devin. Devin's been equaling him. He's been losing. He's been gaining all throughout the racetrack. The gap has not went over about 8 or 9 tenths so far. It's got, I want to say, as close to about 6 tenths of a second since they went green. And right now it's stabilizing at about 8 tenths of a second right now, flirting below it. Don't count out Devin West, because very well now becoming 27 laps up on the board. This is the time when you're going to start to see those tires really, really play a factor. You know, compared to most tracks too, Wesley, besides the old Atlanta Motor Speedway configuration, which is no more. I talked about this is one of the most abrasive surfaces, like you had said as well. This track eats up tires. Usually at regular tracks, you see tires start to wear in about 15, 20 laps or so. No, man, you are seeing tire fall off about 5 to 10 laps into a run here at Darlington. That's just how abrasive and old and gritty that this racetrack is. And you're going to see a lot of tire fall off here tonight. We are already almost 2 seconds of tire fall off into this race, and we're not even at lap 30 yet. So once the tires really start to settle in, I think Devin West might have something for Kevin up at the front.
Yeah, about to be 1/4 of the way through, 1/3 of the way if you get to lap number 40 of this race, coming up on lap number 30 here. Kevin Smith, the leader. Devin West, 2nd. Ryan Bloom, 3rd. Sean Brightsman, Dan West Jr., your top 5. Cole Raz, Chris White, Joshua Marcy, Jalen Ledbetter, Stephen O'Hare, your top 10. Everybody just kind of riding the top of the Lady in Black here at Darlington, and just kind of minding their P's and Q's before that scare we had between, of course, Dan West Jr. That's been pretty much the best action we saw, with the exception of Brett Johnson now smacking the wall on the Boeing back straightaway, Jason.
Yeah, and you know, we just talked about 2 tires playing a factor, and obviously this track being so hard to pass. You know, obviously the sun is practically in their eyes now. We saw at the start of this race, it was cloudy. Now it's overcast practically, and there's spots of sunlight coming out here and there, but as the sun starts to set, the track is going to get cooler. There's going to be a lot more grip in it. Tire wear is still going to play a huge factor right now, but the sun is right in these drivers' eyes, just like in real life. And I will tell you, from somebody who's raced here on this Darlington Raceway virtually with these Xfinity Series fixed setup cars, It is hard, and this is perfect right here. Charles knows all the buttons to press tonight here as we look inside, riding from Joshua Marcy's onboard there. You see Chris White get loose in front of him. Watch the glare here that's going to be off turn number 2. This is very hard. A lot of drivers complain about this in real life. Sun, right in your eyes right there. Do you see the tree line? Not really kind of in effect right there until right there. Then it starts to get shaded. So that could have been a factor when the sun was a little bit higher up in the sky laps ago, and that probably could have been the reason why DWJ got into the wall, but there might have been some contact. Not too sure right there, but he did hang on to it. And everybody right now, though, still dicing. As you see the 36 of Ledbetter and the 47 of White, they're duking it out and off too.
Ledbetter right there. One car way down off the base right now. Harris on pit road. Tidrick is also on pit road. Tidrick winner back in June of 2020 here at Darlington. Also got a Vegas win. Struggling here tonight in the 72 as right now we see Ledbetter going after Marcy. This is in the top 10 for 7th spot as they work into 3.
Yeah, Ledbetter got really loose there, heading in the center of turn 2. Now he's closing up on Joshua Marcy. You see a car right below them. That's Seth Frazier, I believe, in the 2 machine. He is a lap down right now. But Ledbetter currently trying to find every single opportunity that he could try to get around Joshua Marcy. They got around the lap car of Seth Frazier very, very well. Obviously went down to the bottom, but Ledbetter's still hunting down Joshua Marcy. He just can't get there right now, Wesley. There's not really any opportunity to try to pass, and obviously you talked about earlier, the only lane that you really got to run here is the outside, so there's not really any other way that the 36 can get around the 35.
Kevin Smith still continuing to lead the way. Look at this battle now. We watched the battle there between Marcy and Ledbetter heated up. Now we got another great battle. Here's West right in the middle of that sandwich between Stephen O'Hare and Toby Ritters in the top 10. On the outside is Ritters at 11. He's trying to pass these guys down into the corner out of turn 2 on the Boeing backstretch.
Yeah, Chris White right now, he's trying to currently get up to Stephen O'Hare, but he can't. Here comes Ritters. Clifford, the big red dog, to the inside, trying to make a big pass on Chris White. White's up into the wall right there. He saves it, though, pops off it. Toby Ritters, though, inside. They're almost dead even this time by at the start-finish line. Entering 1, who's going to give way? Looks like the 47's not going to give way. They make contact, entering 1 and 2. Up the racetrack goes White. Toby Ritters goes around. Clifford, the big red dog. Clifford right there makes a stellar pass down the back straightaway, but Chris White comes right back at him. Man, this is some good stuff.
Yeah, phenomenal racing. Toby Ritters and Chris White battling it out here. Ritters will not be denied. White up in the fence a moment ago, but he's trying to now reel back in the 23 as they go at it down. A couple of Chevrolets into turn number 3 in Darlington.
Neither of these guys want to give way. They're battling like it's the last lap. And I tell you what, Wesley, entering 1, that was just a product of not really lifting. I mean, honestly, I think Toby Ritters had the advantage there going into 1. I think that Chris White could have lifted just a little bit. It's early on. There was only about 35 laps up on the board at that time. Just give way a little bit, and now look at that. Just because Toby Ritters was able to slide up, not having any grip down there because of the way that this track is just so awkwardly shaped and the way it races, he slid up, got up into the 47, and now the 47 has right front damage, which is definitely going to affect his race car. Not going to use a fast repair for that, obviously. He's going to use the option to just repair it on pit road manually, but obviously that's definitely going to hurt his right front fender because it looks like it's caved in a little bit at the top right corner of that Goodyear Eagle tire right there. But Toby Ritters, man, he is not going to be denied tonight. He is top 10 right now, -1 from where he started. Clifford, the big red dog's making some big passes here tonight at Darlington. He's come here to play.
Kevin Smith still leads. Ryan Bloom, Sean Brightsman, Cole Raz, and Devin West, the top 5, as we're approaching 1/3 of the way through. We're also at the top of the hour. We'll pause for 10 seconds of radio identification. The Northwest CLICKIT RB Fixed Series from Darlington on CRN, the Community Radio Network.
Community Radio Network. WCRN 87.9 FM. Clayton, Garner, Raleigh, North Carolina, USA. We are CRN.
Back here at Darlington, just at the top of the hour. It's midnight Eastern time. It is officially May 11th. Also, Jason Rockefeller is in New Jersey. I'm in North Carolina, in Central Time in Texas at the CLICKIT RV Mobile Production Studio as Charles Wooten. It is 11 p.m. Central, and we welcome you to our coverage. For the guys of the Northwest, a lot of them are on Mountain Time. That is 10 Mountain Time, and then Pacific is 9 p.m. Pacific Time. All right, you're caught up in all your time zones, and we welcome you back to Darlington. It is Kevin Smith leading. No change since it's all got started. All clean and green, and in the next 10 laps or less, Jason, I'm thinking green flag pit stops as well.
Yeah, more than likely. I mean, well, you hit the nail right on the head right there. Here comes Chris White to pit road. Also, I'm noticing Tyler King was on pit road.
Am I good or just good?
I think you're goated, as the kids say these days. You're one of the greatest of all time. But you see Chris White coming into the pits. Josh Marcy, Paul Newton, all these guys coming into the pits. Obviously, tire wear is starting to play a major factor. You're going to wear these tires out a lot more than what you saw probably the Truck Series did on Monday with being an open setup series. You can kind of control just a little bit with how much those tires wear out depending on camber, springs, whatever it may be. I'm no genius when it comes to setting up cars, but I know for a fact that depending on the way you set up those cars, the way your air pressures are, your tires will wear very, very quickly or not so quickly depending on how you set it up. Now, compared to this series, it's a fixed setup series. You cannot change springs. You cannot change camber. You cannot change air pressure adjustments. You are on the same setup as everybody else, which is why it makes this series so competitive, just like the real NASCAR Xfinity Series. And this season has been a blast for these guys to put the Cup cars on the shelf, to take out the Xfinity cars. This has been a season for history for the Northwest Racing Division and Series. For all these guys, all the fans, us over here at LSRTV, this has been a blast to watch. But pit stops you talked about, Wesley, obviously just kind of began. Now the question is, which one of those top 5 and top 10 guys are finally going to really come into the pits besides Chris White?
And by the way, if you don't remember as well, the Northwest Series primary class is the trucks during season 10 of the 2023 season, obviously flip-flopping from the fixed setup cars to the Northwest ARCA to the Cup Series in the couple of years, as Jason mentioned. But the trucks now premiere every Monday night. Check it out, iRacing on LSRTV, and also a new Northwest Super Late Model Dirt Series as well, now bi-weekly. Tomorrow night's the eNASCAR Road to Pro qualifying race here at Darlington. And then, of course, next week, we're, of course, back with the Northwest Super Late Model Dirt Series. Ryan Bloom now the leader as green flag pit stops are starting to happen. Brightsman in second, Smith behind him with Raz as they work off two.
Yeah, Kevin Smith has been falling off drastically these last few laps. I don't believe he got into the wall or anything. There was no damage on that car. By the looks of it, I think he's just really shot those tires completely. I mean, he's running slower lap times than most of that entire front top 5 group to top 10. I mean, Kevin Smith 32.32 compared to Ryan Bloom's 31.54. And here comes Cole Raz. Oh, one car up and into the wall down the front straightaway entering one. It's John Onbacher, the number 89 machine, who goes a lap down now. He's going to stay out of the leader's way. He's got heavy right side damage. But right now, the 00 of Kevin Smith was up in the lead. He might just lose third here to Cole Raz here as the run progresses before they take their green flag pit stops. Oh, and the 00's up and into the wall.
Raz slips, slams the wall on the safer barrier out of turn 4. Tried to make a move on Smith. He made his own mistake and he damaged the car. But now he bonsais past Smith, climbs the bank in again, and then number 1 and 3 about hit the wall.
Yeah, and that was actually the 00 there, Wesley, into 3 and 4. He slapped the wall, and Cole Raz almost made contact with it right there, and Raz had to avoid Kevin Smith getting up and into the wall. Raz went to the bottom. The 00 pancaked the wall on the right side. Kevin Smith from going from first to probably almost worst in his mind right now. That car has right side damage, and it ain't just little, it's heavy damage on the right side. It looks like that entire door looks to be caved in. There's some right front damage there. That's going to hurt his race car drastically here as Devin West, Monday's race winner in the Truck Series, looks to the inside of the racetrack. Man, there is a lot of shuffling going up inside this top 5.
Little shake, rattle, and roll. 3 wide almost as they work with Fletcher down to the inside. Devin West and Kevin Smith battling there. Wow, I'm wondering if maybe the leader pitted a little too early. What do you think? Do you think the leader was trying to go for the undercut on himself? Huh.
I mean, nobody's pitted yet besides Chris White right now. I mean,
right.
The doubles, yeah, they all have a pit right now. The first car is 13th on a fresh set of Goodyear Eagles, and right now that's being shuffled between Tyler King, Chris White, Joshua Marcy right now, who pitted on lap 40, 41, and also 41. So they're going to be flying, and right now they're posting lap times that are 2 seconds quicker than the rest of the field. So this very well could play into Chris White's favor. Obviously, he's going to have way more worn tires from taking the undercut, like you just said, Wesley, compared to these leaders when they pit. But he, sure enough, is going to make up a heck of a lot of ground on the racetrack from when he was inside the top 10 and pitted back at lap 41. So this could play into benefit for Chris White here later on as this run progresses and when these leaders do come into the pits.
And another thing that approaching very fast is halfway, as Ryan Bloom is still the leader. Sean Brightsman right there behind them. Raz, West, Smith, the top 5. And we'll get ready for the cross flags to come out here in about another 7 laps or so. And so far, a clean and green race. Couple of scares amongst the way. Brett Johnson, the worst for wear, with damage on his race car. And we await these green flag pit stops, but wow, Ritter's under attack by O'Hare and Gormley. He gets bypassed. That puts Ritter's now to 10th, maybe more. Here comes other drivers chomping at the bit to come after him.
Yeah, and Ritter up into the wall right there in the center of 1 and 2 there, Wesley. I believe Ritter's was either passing somebody or he just got in way too hot, tank slapped the wall, killed the right side of that race car, and a lot of guys were able to pass him, and now he's under fire from what looks to be, I believe, if that is, I think that's the 27 of Paul Newton, who is on a fresh set of Goodyear Eagles, 1 lap down. He's trying the best he can to make it up through this field and get his lap back. Other drivers as well, like William Fletcher, Dan Lowther, Chris Kynes, and others as well. Chris White, he's gotten his lap back, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But a lot of other guys, here we go. Pit stops beginning up at the front of the field. Cole Raz, Dan Jr., they're in pit road right now, and they're heading down pit lane to take their service.
Pit stops underway. Cole Raz, one of the first guys to come on into the pit lane. Dan West Jr. also in, going by on pits right now. 4 tires fuel the Autotown Chevrolet Camaro for Caden Anderson Racing. Jack's down. He squeals out of pit lane. There you see Dan West Jr. now getting ready to finish his pit stop. Some of the early leaders coming into pit.
Yeah, and this is going to play a huge factor for these guys up at the front of the field, Wesley. Now with these guys finally pitting, these were 2 heavy hitters. Now this is going to open up the door big time for guys that are all inside the top 10, like Devin West, Sean Brightsman, Ryan Bloom, Ledbetter, Gormley, Smith, etc. All these guys up at the front of the field. And hey, look, there's Brett Johnson right behind Toby Ritters. He took that fast repair. He's trying to get all of the laps back that he can try to get. He's currently only 2 laps down, so Brett Johnson still very well is in the hunt for this race to try to salvage a good finish after wrecking very early on, took that fast repair, and he almost pops the wall there entering 1 and 2. But here we go, other drivers coming in. Ryan Gormley comes into the pits. There's Monday's winner, Devin West. He's into the pits this time by, and so is Kevin Smith, the pole sitter, in this time by as well.
Ryan Bloom still on the track. Brightsman, Ledbetter also. But as we mentioned, pole car, Kevin Smith, Devin West, the West family, have doing really well in the Northwest racing events in the last 3 weeks. 6 events have been wins for the West in the last 6. County Northwest for dirt and pavement. And the last 2 races in the trucks have gone to Devin West. Devin West also won last week. Will he repeat tonight? Right now he's on pit road. Kevin Smith as well. Pole car not left pit lane yet. Devin West off of pit road. All this happening with green flag pit stops. And by the way, now Jaden Ledbetter peels onto the pit lane. Only 5 cars now. Jason on the lead lap here as we're halfway here now at Darlington on lap 60.
Yeah, and Sean Brightsman coming into the pits as well. Everybody right now, it's just a tire strategy game currently right now, Wesley. As we're on lap 61 of 120, you got to think to yourself, who made the right call to pit when, if this race does in fact go green all the way to the end, which very well could happen. I just got done calling a race recently over at Nerd TV. Like I said beforehand, that race went entirely green the entire way. For the Martin Sports Truck Series, only 1 caution, which was unnatural, which was due to the stage ending at lap 40. You very well could see guys try to pit and place tire strategy, acting like this race is going to go green all the way to the end. Compared to Darlington in real life, it can be a caution fest, or it could be very hard and racy. On iRacing, it could be a tire strategy game, and sometimes you won't see any cautions at all. As you see Ryan Bloom, the leader, coming in this time by, also bringing along Stephen O'Hare, and then LSRTV's own Jeff Stabnow. He's also in. It's all a tire strategy game here right now, Wesley, as they work on lap 62.
And now Toby Ritters will be the new leader. Troy Daggett will climb to second. We welcome you inside the broadcast booth as we are closing in on halfway and green flag pit stops are ongoing. And it's time for the LSRTV mid-race report update. I'm Wesley Outland, Jason Rockefeller down below. Jason, no cautions, but I don't want to say or take away the fact that this race has not been entertaining. We just ain't seen a yellow flag yet.
Yeah, we haven't seen a yellow flag right now, and honestly, like I just said, that's pretty common here on the iRacing service. Sometimes you don't really see a lot of yellows, and I mean, that is a very big factor. Obviously, we just talked about too, green flag pit stops. When was the right time to pit? Did Devin West pit at the right time? Did Sean Brightsman pit at the right time? Did Chris White, the guy who was the first car in pit road, who I believe was in the top 10 at the time, did he pit at the right time? You see right now Clifford, Toby Ritters, finally coming into the pits as well. Also, a lot of guys too, Wesley, they keep popping that wall. They're getting a kiss from the lady in black tonight. Probably every driver in the field is going to be getting a kiss from her tonight here as they take her on a date here as the sun starts to set from the virtual Darlington Raceway. But so far, great racing, these Xfinity Series cars with the fixed setup. Always, 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 and I will bring that to my grave, always put on a show here at Darlington on iRacing, but a lot of great racing here tonight.
And unless the camera angle's playing tricks on me, it looked like Toby Ritters overshot his pit box and still had service done. There might be a penalty coming to the driver of the number 23 CLICKIT RV Win Racing machine. Was he in the box, out of the box? It looked like he was in Stabnow's box. Let's check in with our producer slash guy from the pits whenever he chimes in. Charles, what do you got for us, buddy?
Sorry, I'm not very helpful tonight. I'm actually working on stuff for the podcast, so I'm not paying much attention. So,
okay, I thought you said bring me in. I'm sorry. Never mind.
Well, I was actually the pit boxes at this track for some reason do not align properly with what they actually have to pit.
Good point.
It looks like they're outside of it, but they're technically not.
Okay, good. Well, thank you for that update. We appreciate that. So, well, Jason, obviously, we're going on lap number 65 of 120 laps. This has been a comfortable race. There's not been a lot of problems. Not saying that it's not been exciting, but one of the things you got to take into consideration is you're going to have a lot of cars now spread out around this egg-shaped speedway, and this could possibly set the stage, maybe, for a green flag run to the checker flag.
Yeah, and it very well could. I mean, we just talked about it too. When did you pit at the right time? You're seeing everyone pitting right now as I'm looking up and down on the leaderboard right now. There are guys that pitted at lap 40 like forget it. Yellow's out. Forget it. Forget it. It's out. It's over. Forget it. It's over. Everything I just was about to say, I'm gonna punch this out the window, and I'm gonna just throw all my knowledge right out the window into the New Jersey air. That's what I'm gonna do.
Well, it's the real. I'm telling you, it's real. The dreaded announcer jinx. You wanted a caution. Who anybody wanted a caution? You willed it. You got it. I'll take the blame for it. And that's also been your LSRTV Darlington mid-race report. We got a caution. I'm digging the Cheerwine card, Jason. I love Cheerwine.
You know something funny, Wesley? Obviously, me being a northerner, I've never had Cheerwine, and the only reason why is because we don't have it up here. It's just like Sundrop. I've had Sundrop. I love Sundrop. It goes so good with High Rock vodka. I've said this multiple times whenever I see Ledbetter's car. It's so good. But why? Oh, the South, they get everything good. We don't get anything. I'm yet to try Cheerwine. By the way, that is a beautiful scheme for the 21 of Tyler King, last year's Northwest Truck Series champion. And that Cheerwine Ford Mustang is coming in this time for some service. That is a beautiful looking number 21. And it's my favorite color. It's red.
Yeah, it's like a cherry red kind of color there for the Cheerwine car Ford of Tyler King, obviously the defending Northwest Truck Series champion. But so listen, I got to mail some Duke's mayonnaise to our friend of the North, Justin Prince, and I've got to mail you some Cheerwine to New Jersey. As long as it'll get through customs and it won't bust, okay? As long as it won't break, a 12-pack is coming your way.
Oh, that sounds good, man. I really appreciate it. Get me some Sundrop while you're at it, too.
Cheerwine, Sundrop, RC Cola, and some moon pie as well. Moon pies.
Oh, yeah. Moon pies.
Have you ever had moon pies?
I believe I have. I think I've had moon pies a couple times.
Well, they got banana flavor now. They also got vanilla. And sometimes they're double decker. And yes, they make a great midnight snack. Tyler King roaring off the pit lane. Charles, you want to go side by side since we're under caution? Yeah, no, maybe. I think he's working on something else, everybody. Well, there you see.
He's working. He's working.
He is. Multitasking. There's Tyler King again entering on the racetrack in the 21. All right. Well, everything we said, throw it out the window as we just got a caution flag. And this puts, hey, we found it. This is why he was working. Jason was trying to find what happened.
Oh,
Ryan
no.
Gormley, Jaden Ledbetter, Dan Lowther. Something happened.
Yeah, we'll see right here. Oh, Gormley pops the wall. Ledbetter's closing in on him. It's probably going to come right here to turn one more than likely. You're going to see the 22. I already can see how this is shaping up. Yep, there it is. And the 22.
Man. And Ledbetter.
Well,
you know, you mentioned vodka, and you mentioned High Rock vodka. There's your TV time there. Yeah. Jason did it.
Well, I guess I did it. You know, commentators' curse exists. We call cautions over here at LSR, and we shout out sponsors, and then they end up wrecking.
Oh, we're under caution. All right, first one of the race. Well, I thought we got a break, but we're not. But the lights are off on the pace car. Who said? Sean Brightsman and Ryan Bloom on the front row now. Raz, West Daddy right there in fifth. Kevin Smith pole car. Man, look at that sharp-looking car. Was that in seventh or eighth spot? That golden red car? I think the gold, red, and white car. That's a pretty-looking machine behind Dan West Jr.
Yeah, that's the 27 of Paul Newton. That scheme is beautiful.
I like that one. Yeah. Paul Newton Designs, number 27. By the way, came into this race second in the point standings for the road course king. Usually dominates the road courses. Getting a lot as the field getting ready to watch that safety vehicle drop onto the pit lane for the first time tonight. They come back to the Geico restart zone. Green flag back in the air. Will cautions breed cautions? We're 50 to go here at Darlington in the restart. Whole shot will go to Brightsman in turn number one.
A lot of wheel spin right there. Wesley on the restart right there, heading down the front straightaway, but that opens up the door for a lot of guys, a lot of passing opportunities on the initial restart right there. Raz, Brightsman, they get away from the rest of the field. Third, fourth, fifth, Bloom, West Jr., and then Devin West, his son, Monday night's winner, right behind him in tow. That's your top 5 off turn number 4. Brightsman leads Raz by just about half the car length as the 5 of Devin West looks to the outside of his dad here, entering 1, and Dad's going to give it to him.
Well, that goes on. Cole Raz is trying to look for Sean Brightsman for the lead as they work their way into turn number 2 down the Boeing back straightaway. Bloom losing ground. He'll try to close in on 3 car lengths. West will follow along with Father West, and that's the top 5 single file in 3.
Oh, and Raz going to get a really good run here. Wesley off turn number 4. Brightsman.
Oh, he's going to run out of room.
The wall. He almost ran out of room right there in turns 3 and 4. Raz to the outside. Will anybody give? Entering turns 1 and 2. The 46 is loose. Cole Raz in the number 10 machine. He'll go to the top of the leaderboards right now off turn number 2. Brightsman's loose. The 5 taps the wall. Everybody's squirrely as they work their way down the Boeing back straightaway.
They have Brightsman with a problem. West also falling back now. He's got a new reprieve and a vigor down to the inside, making the run on Ryan Bloom. Dan West Jr. losing ground to Sun and Bloom as they work across the start-finish line. Go back to turn 1 on lap number 75 next time by.
Bloom gave up the spot right there to Monday night's winner, Devin West. He's so fast here tonight, trying to go 2 for 2 here tonight at the virtual Darlington Raceway. And there's his father right there, Dan West Jr., following in 5th, trying to hopefully go from 2nd from Monday's finish all the way to the top of the board here tonight, trying to pick up a win. But guess what? Here comes Brightsman, speaking of the lead. He's closing back down on Cole Raz here as they enter turn number 1. Brightsman is hot on Raz's heels here as they work their way into turn 2.
Caution is out. Yellow flag will wave for the 2nd time tonight here at Darlington. We got just after halfway and things were great. Now we have 2 cautions here at Darlington. Yellow flag will fly. We'll find out what happened. Here's your replay.
Dan Lowther.
Dan Lowther and Jaden Ledbetter.
The 63 just pops the wall right here. He does. It's not going to come down right in front. Oh, he just, hard hit to the inside wall. Oh, wow,
is that Jeff Stab now?
Yeah, oh my goodness.
Rivers
How about that
just
for a
weasels
throwback?
by.
The 63 of Lowther's throwing it back to Clint Boyer's 2007 Daytona 500 finish, and Zach Rush is involved late in the going there in that wreck. Oh my goodness.
Man,
Lowther didn't have a throwback, but he sure enough was throwing it back to Clint Boyer right there.
And you saw the accident. Brightsman's committing to pit road. Bloom's coming to pit road. A sight job by Cole Raz and Devin West. What's going to happen with this? We got to take a break, and we're back with more from Darlington in a moment.
At CLICKIT RV, we know there's a lot of heritage and history at this location. RV sales and service has been part of this community for decades. We knew there was an incredible opportunity here, but to see where we've come in just a year is incredible. None of it would be possible without the patronage and support from this community. So whether it be a more convenient and accessible service drive, our customers leave here with the best possible experience.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Go back to Darlington. We're back. If people only knew our conversations off air, okay? It was oh, Cole Rast. Hey, Jason, true story. I was talking with Dave Moody of MRN and SiriusXM Speedway the other day, and one of the things that we were talking about was actually how they have a hot channel when they go to commercial break on the network, and the conversations you hear amongst the announcers during commercial breaks are hilarious. And I told him, I said, well, if you think that's funny, we kind of do the same thing at LSRTV thanks to our producer. And the things we come back from, we're just, yeah. So, yeah, one up on that. We're going to go back to green, I think. Have you stopped cackling, Jason?
Yeah, I've stopped cackling. But, hey, listen, right there, right before we went to the picture-in-picture mode right there, you saw the 10 was coming to pit road and psyched out Sean Breitzman. And Sean Breitzman came into the pits. And Sean Breitzman, I'm just going to say right now, I think Sean Breitzman, oh, man, I don't really know. I mean, right now, it looks like it's telling me that Sean Breitzman lands.
Charles, did he take on two? Charles Wooten, did he take on 2 tires? We know Sean Breitzman does that sometimes. They gamble on 2 tires. Or at least find that out real quickly. All right, he was in the pits 20 seconds. So. He didn't. He rolled through the pits, is what we're being told. Wow, he rolled through the pits.
He got psyched out.
So that. Wow, we're back to green, and Raz ready, bringing him to the green flag. Here we go. 40 laps remaining when they come to the line. 2/3 of the way through in the home stretch at Darlington.
Yeah, and here comes Kevin Smith right now to work his way back up through this field currently. Started on the pole. He's back all the way to 5th, and here comes Chris White. Talk about strategy playing into his favor. He's already back up into the top 10, and he's sitting outside the top 5 right now, looking to try to pass Kevin Smith as 3 cars behind him. King, Gormley, and Breitzman chase him down as they enter in 1.
Back off into the corner. Raz the leader. West in 2nd, Devin West 3rd, Paul Newton, Kevin Smith top 5. Behind them, there is Chris White back in the gunfight. He's got some more cars behind him in King, Gormley, Breitzman coming hot and heavy. Jeff Stabnow, remember him flipping the car through the air at Lowther? He's still in the top 10 as they come to the line.
Yeah, Jeff had to take his fast repair right there. Once they worked their way all 4, got into Ledbetter right there. Not Ledbetter, excuse me. That was Dan Lowther, and Lowther did his best impression of Clint Boyer's 2007 Daytona 500 finish. I guess when you don't have a throwback, you got to do something here at Darlington.
That's
right. But Jeff Stabnow is back in the hunt right now, sitting just inside the top 10 as he works to try to get around Sean Breitzman with Ryan Bloom hot on his heels. Gormley pops the wall off turn number 4.
Pops the wall, outside lane. Breitzman says, excuse me, coming through, but can't clear him. Working back behind them, Stabnow, Bloom. All this going on as they bob and weave off the corner to the Boeing back straightaway. Here comes Breitzman. He'll pill to the inside of Gormley and clear him for that spot to 3.
Everybody's had so much trouble here tonight, working side by side in the corners from the center all the way to the exit right here. Now this is the big question. They're heading down the front straightaway. Is anybody going to give way right here? Nobody's going to give way. Sean Breitzman almost up into Gormley. Gormley almost pops the wall, and Sean Breitzman, from being on the bottom, is going to get a terrible drive in. He's going to have a terrible drive off. Ryan Gormley made a fool of Sean Breitzman right there going into 1, said, nah, man, I ain't lifted. And sure enough, here comes Breitzman back at him again as they work their way off 4.
Got a little loose there again off the exit of the corner. Stab down Bloom, licking their lips, ready to pounce. They're also a teammate there in the 24. The 46 going to try to go to the bottom again. Gormley shuts the door. He hugs the wall. Brightsman up into the outside wall as they work again off of turn number 2, now single file.
Brightsman with a great run right there off the corner. Gormley got loose. Brightsman dime in the corner. Here he comes, side by side, 2 by 2. 2 rows deep. Gormley, Brightsman, and then Bloom, and also Stab now. They're side by side. They work it out. That also enters in William Fletcher, the 28 machine. And here comes Gormley trying to pull away from Brightsman. Brightsman, though, still hot on his heels here as they enter turn 2.
Gormley, Brightsman, Bloom, Fletcher, sounds like a law firm. Ritters and Stab now also in that mix. That's the drivers that are putting on a clinic on the race on lap 86.
They're doing such a great job right now. These Northwest guys never disappoint, especially here at the Lady in Black. But guess what? We're starting to have a little bit of a battle for the lead. Here comes Devin West slowly closing in on Cole Raz as they work their way off too.
Devin West ready to carry Dan West right there behind him. Kevin Smith, the pole truck, and that beautiful looking number 27. Paul Newton, top 5. There's your top 4. There's your top 5. Throw a blanket of him as White wants to get in the battle, and so does Gormley and King as they work off turn number 4 back to the line.
Everybody practically like a locomotive right now, just flying, ripping around the outside here at the virtual Darlington Raceway in South Carolina. Devin West had to back off a little bit, got a little tight there off turn number 1, entering in the center through 1 and 2. Off turn number 2, though, father and son trying the best they can to reclaim first and second like they had on Monday here on a Wednesday night. Everybody, though, chasing Cole Raz as they work their way off 4.
You mentioned that train right now on the outside lane, hugging the safer barrier back to turn number 1. The conductor is Cole Raz, the white number 10. The caboose right now in that pack is the 21 of Tyler King. These drivers stay single filed, starting to bob and weave now off the bowling back straightaway.
Oh, wrecked down the back straightaway. Brian Bloom trouble.
Bloom in trouble, no caution. Remember, they're below the bottom of the apron with 30 laps to go. He is not in the racing groove there, Jason. We will stay green.
As far as we're concerned right now, just like you said, Ryan Bloom, no harm, no foul, slams the inside wall. Will we see a caution for the time being right now? No caution. You saw Devin West try to make a move on Cole Raz down the back straightaway. Wasn't enough. William Fletcher also involved as well. He's taken a tow to the pit area right now, currently 1 lap down after such a strong comeback for the number 28 machine. He goes to pit road right there. A couple other guys getting in the wall back there. You just saw Ryan Gormley pop the wall entering turn number 3. He keeps it off it though. Everybody's still single file and they're still all chasing the conductor, Cole Raz, in the number 10 as they work their way off too.
Ryan Bloom on pit road. He possibly could go a lap down or more. Tough break there for the driver, the number 25 for Win Racing. Meanwhile, Cole Raz is the leader. Devin West, Dan West Jr., Kevin Smith, Paul Newton. There you see Tyler King. He's after Chris White for 6th as they work their way back into turn number 1.
Yeah, and they're working their way right now for the 6th position currently through 1 and 2. Chris White trying his best to get away from the 21 of King, but everybody right now on this racetrack virtually and on right now the broadcast looking at the battle for 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Everybody's still chasing Cole Raz, but the father and son duo, red and blue, they're coming right now hard at Cole Raz right now as they work their way off 4th. Devin West has got a run. Question is, what's he going to do with that run?
Yeah, what will he do with it? Well, by the way, something we haven't mentioned tonight, but we need to, is thank our buddy Brian Morehouse and the folks at my friend at NASCAR and the Virginia811.com. Dig with care, caution information. So far tonight, only a couple of cautions, 7 caution laps of the 93 completed, and 5 lead changes. That's the way it's been so far. You better strap in, though, audience, because it's about to get good in the neighborhood. Whether you're watching iRacing on LSRTV or you're listening on the Community Radio Network, it's Raz, the leader, the conductor, as Jason called him. He leads the cavalry single file in 2.
Everybody single file. You see Raz 1st, West 2nd, West Jr. 3rd. Kevin Smith fourth, Paul Newton top 5 right now. And Paul Newton, where did he come from? Wesley said it beforehand. The beautiful red, white, and blue number 27 machine up 10 spots from where he was, besides Cole Raz, who's up 12 from where he started right now. Everybody, though, currently single file, practically a waiting game, seeing who slips up first, who can save tires the most. They're approaching 20 laps to go. Devin West has been so fast all night long, along with his father, Dan West Jr., Kevin Smith as well. Can anybody show any kind of battle to put up for Cole Raz, the number 10, as they work their way off 4? Down the back straightaway right now, Cole Raz still leading currently. Devin West right now in tow. Dan West Jr., though, father in tow behind him. He's trying to make a move down to the inside of the racetrack. Not going to be enough. Everybody still single files out. This time by the line. Lap 97 clicked off and it's gone away. Lap 98 now up on the board. Cole Raz up at the top of the racetrack, nearly hitting the wall as they work their way off turn number 2. This time by. Raz still with the lead right now, obviously. Devin West trying everything he can do right now. And there's the pole sitter, Kevin Smith, right back behind them, trying to see if one of them has something of a miss, possibly, as they work their way back to the start-finish line. Lap 99, now up on the board. Kevin Smith, though, starting to fade away, but he's very, very good on entry as he works his way into 1, though. Father and son still trying to figure out what they're going to do to try to make their way off and around Cole Raz, though. Paul Newton, he's fallen into the clutches right now of Chris White and Tyler King behind them. Here we go, though. Battle for second between the first and second place runners from Monday night. They're going to go back single file. Father cannot get around son right there off turn number 4. And Cole Raz loving what he's seeing there in the rearview mirror. Next time by, it'll be 20 laps to go from the virtual Darlington Raceway in South Carolina. And Cole Raz loving every second of this lead that he has right now over the West family, along with CLICKIT RV's own Kevin Smith behind him in the 4th place spot, and last year's Truck Series champion Tyler King, who's moved up into the 5th spot, and Chris White with strategy tried to play it earlier on. It fell right into his lap perfectly. He's 6th. Mid-Ohio and Homestead winner Sean Brightsman 7th. Paul Newton currently in 8th, dropping back just a few spots. Clifford sitting in the 9th spot, last year's Talladega Truck winner. And Ryan Gormley, that is your top 10 right now as they run this time by, coming to 19 laps to go here. Raz still with the advantage, though, as they work their way off turn number 4. You got to think to yourself, when is one of these West boys going to try to make a move on Cole Raz? There's so much respect given in the Northwest Series. The question is, when will that respect go out the window here as they work their way down the back straightaway here into turns 3 and 4? Here they come, this time by at the line. 18 laps to go up on the board here for the virtual Darlington Raceway. Cole Raz starting to get a little comfortable up out at the front currently. Has about 0.2 of a second lead over the West family, the father and son duo, who were at the top of the racetrack and also at the top of their game on Monday night. As you ride on board, Dan West Jr., the father of Devin West, currently in tow behind his son, trying to see if his son will make a move possibly on Cole Raz that will give him an opportunity to try to put those two in front of him under fire. And Kevin Smith fading back as well here. As you ride on board, they climb the top of the banking, sweeping around 1 and 2, diving it back down to the dotted line to get the runoff 2. Father, though, of Devin West kind of slipping back just a little bit. It might just be a 2-horse race up at the front of the field here if the tire strategy comes into play big time. But the question's going to be, as they hit this time by, 16 laps to go right now up on the board. Who has saved enough tire who can run the hardest. As you look at the shot from turn 1 as they enter turn 2, Cole Raz still at the front of the field. Currently only 13 cars on the lead lap. Kevin Smith pops the wall there off turn number 2. He keeps it going, but his lap time's falling off drastically right now, about half a second off the leader Cole Raz, who ran a 31 flat that last time around. This time by, up at the line, put 3 hands up in the air if you haven't, even though everybody's got 2. 15 laps to go. That time by, Devin West a little bit faster than Cole Raz by about a little bit more than 1/10 of a second. Father and son, father in the wall right there. Dan West Jr. tank slaps the wall off turn number 2 right there, and that's going to make him fall into the clutches or claws of Kevin Smith as he works his way into 3. He's not going to be a factor now. Dan West Jr. falls all the way back to almost a second and a half behind his son. Now it's really only a 2-horse race up at the front of the field. Cole Raz still leading Devin West. Devin West, though, being super, super patient with Cole Raz in that number 10 machine as they work their way down the Boeing back straightaway. And here's the battle right now as we're on 14 laps to go. You see Jaden Ledbetter working with Brett Johnson. They make a little bit of contact there off turn number 2. Ledbetter gets in the wall on the High Rock Vodka Camaro. Brett Johnson in the number 7 LSRTV Camaro almost running into the back of Ledbetter there as they enter into turn number 3. He was able to save it, though. Those guys keep on driving. And here we go, 13 laps to go at Darlington. It's getting very, very aggressive. Everybody virtually is hot inside their virtual race cars, virtual cockpit, whatever you want to call it. It is so hard to drive here at Darlington. I cannot stress enough how much of a workout it is for your arms here, especially in these B Xfinity Series cars here. Here we go. You're looking right now at the 21. Here's some cheer wine, something that I don't have up here in the Northeast in Jersey. I could really use some cheer wine right now. Maybe Tyler King could send me some if he does in fact have it. Currently, he's under fire from Chris White, who's trying to look into the top 5. That's the Nashville Super Speedway winner from just a handful of weeks ago. And then Mid-Ohio and Homestead winner Sean Breitzman right back behind him. That's a battle going on right now for currently the 5th spot. So this is for the top 5 between 5th, 6th, and 7th right now. White super loose there through the center of 1 and 2. And off the corner this time by, we're approaching 10 laps to go here. This time by, and Chris White under fire right now from the 46. That's also bringing in the 25 of Ryan Bloom behind them, as he had an issue earlier on, got involved into a little bit of a wreck with William Fletcher in the 28 machine. They were able to save it. No caution for those guys. The 47 up and into the 46, up and into the wall goes Breitzman. Tank slaps it. He saves it. Chris White saves it as well. That was just a product of 2 guys going at. Did not want to get involved into a big mess right there into turn number 2. They save it. They're almost popping the wall again. White's up and into the wall. Here comes Breitzman. White's hard into the wall again with 9 laps to go. White falling back big time as he falls into the clutches of Ryan Bloom, who is currently right now 1 lap down. Sideways right now. Chris White, though, trying to do everything that he can to save that race car, make sure he can just get to the finish right now. Maybe he can catch a caution, possibly take a faster pair. Again, only 13 cars right now on the lead lap. So if we were to get a late race caution, the 47 could come into the pits, but I'm sure thinking that everybody else behind him would come in as well, especially the guys up in front, because tires mean so much here from Darlington, South Carolina, with this abrasive service. And look at this, Toby Ritters, he's up 1 from where he started. He could possibly move into the 7th spot here. That number 23, Clifford the Big Red Dog, CLICKIT RV machine, is very, very stout right now. He is doing a very good job here tonight at Darlington. Had a battle earlier, little bit of damage there, trying to catch Chris White and pass him. That's going to be a battle for the 7th spot. But up at the front right now, Cole Raz pulled away from Devin West by over a second now. The gap is 1.24 seconds. Last time around, Raz 31.48. Devin West 31.86. So Cole Raz about 0.4 of a second almost faster than Devin West, who is Monday night's Truck Series winner here. And we're approaching 6 laps to go as they hit that now. That time by Devin West only a few hundredths off Cole Raz. So this race is not over yet, folks. With only 6 laps to go, it's getting good right now. We still could have a yellow. The unpredictability here in the Northwest CLICKIT RV Fixed Series is always up in the air. Obviously, we've had some overtime restarts. We've had guys throw Hail Marys. We've seen some great finishes. Think back to Kansas when Jeff Stabnow was able to hold off Ryan Bloom for the finish of that one by just about a little less than a car length. But right now, Cole Raz trying to steal one away. He's been so fast here tonight. Kind of let a few laps off, but he's trying to steal one away from the West family. Obviously, the Wests, I mentioned earlier, they finished 1-2 on Monday with Devin West coming home first over his father, Dan West Jr. But they currently sit second and third right now. Cole Raz looking to try to steal their weekend sweep away from those guys. And Kevin Smith, this is a very good run for him as well. For a guy who's been so strong in qualifying and practice, just hasn't had the races to close out. Something always happens to Smith in the beginning of these races, whether it be the Truck Series or the Fixed Series. It's always been a struggle for Kevin Smith. Just can't seem to close it out. Tonight, he could just finish inside the top 3 because he's currently closing in on Dan West Jr. So that's going to be a battle for the podium spot shaping up here in just a little bit. As we're approaching 3 laps to go this time by at the line. We are at 3 laps to go. Gap now between West and Raz, 1.5 seconds right now. We're going to have to see if Devin can try to gain a little bit of time here on Cole Raz, but it might not be enough as we shift back to the race lead. Cole Raz trying to steal one away from the West family. He'll take 2 laps to go on the board right now, and it's a 2nd and 4/10 over Devin West. He's just praying that that white car can make it back to the start-finish line and see the flag that's the same color of his car, obviously being white, be the white flag this time by for Cole Raz, trying to look for a win this season. Been so strong. He's always been very good in the Northwest Division here. As he comes off turn 4, he's going to get it. White flag is out. 1 lap to go for Cole Raz this time by here in the Northwest CLICKIT RV Fixed Series. Working off turn number 2. What could have been a night for the Wests, trying to finish 1-2 again like they did on Monday. Cole Raz off turn number 4 has the same pit strat. Big set on Brightsman. Cole Raz wins Darlington Throwback Weekend. He wins the Northwest CLICKIT RV Fixed Setup Series race at Darlington in Darlington, South Carolina. Devin West second, Dan West Jr. third. Kevin Smith finally comes home in a respectable and very well-fought spot in 4th. Tyler King 5th right there, and that is your top 5. And Cole Raz is going to go and burn it down on the front straightaway in the number 10 as he gets a little bit of a congratulatory bump there from Monday night's winner, Devin West. So Devin, unfortunately, going to have to settle for his 2nd place here tonight after having such a strong run. Cole Raz, though, burning it down like Joey Logano. Logano obviously winning last year's Goodyear 400 after bumping William Byron with just a handful of laps to go. Took home the win, got a lot of boos, but hey, that's why he was the 2022 champion, right? Tonight, Raz steals one away from West as he gets the Northwest Salute High 5 from Chris White in the Carl Edwards throwback scheme, which Edwards won that here on the first throwback paint scheme race here. Oh my goodness, the West. I don't know if that's congratulatory or if that's a, hey man, you stole this win away from us, but man, everybody wrecking. I guess you got to have something right there. That was probably the best wreck you've seen all night besides Dan Lather flying through the air. Anyways, folks, Here's your unofficial race results presented by LiveSimRacingTV.com. Obviously, Cole Raz taking home the victory tonight. Devin West comes home P2 there. 1.6 seconds back. Dan West Jr. third. Kevin Smith fourth. Tyler King fifth. Last year's Truck Series champion. Sean Brightsman comes home sixth, which was going to be a night of what could have been if he wasn't faked out by Cole Raz. Chris White rebounds to come home seventh. Toby Ritters, Clifford, man, comes home eighth. Jeff Stabnow, ninth. Paul Newton rounds out the top 10. And then going on to the top 20, Ryan Gormley comes home 11th. Troy Daggett, first car, one lap down. Didn't really talk about him all night. Solid night for Troy there in the number 99. He'll come home 12th. 13th, Chris Kynes. 14th, Brett Johnson with a nice rebound after wrecking on the very first or second lap here in this race. That is a finish I would be happy to walk away with. 15th, Jaden Ledbetter. 16th, John Ottenbacher. 17th, Ryan Bloom, who got involved in a late race wreck. Stephen O'Hara, 18th. Seth Frazier, 19th. Zach Rush comes home in 20th. 21st, after a wreck with Ryan Bloom. William Fletcher, 22nd. Dan Lather after flying through the air. This is not good, Ricky Bobby style. 23rd, Joshua Marcy. 24th, Aaron Cooper. 25th, Carl Burt. 26th, the legend Frank Harris. 27th, BJ Tidrick. 28th, Ron Hunter. 29th, Scott Hutchinson. And 30th, the number 07, Dana Rogers. 121 laps down. When we come back, we're going to grab the top 3 finishers from tonight's Darlington race. So stick around. You're not going to want to miss it. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back, folks, to the Northwest CLICKIT RV Fixed Series live from the virtual Darlington Raceway. Obviously said we were going to grab our top 3 podium finishers, and that being said, I have the top 3 with us here today. Coming home third, first up, Dan West Jr. Dan, you really had something there. You were really in tow right there with Devin and Cole. You got really loose. Looked like you hit the wall there on the back straightaway off 2 in the last handful of laps. Were your tires just worn out, or did you just make a driver error right there off the corner?
Oh, it was just driver error. I was with Devin. I mean, with Cole and Devin back there. They were saving their stuff, and I was just saving my stuff with them. And I just got old and lost focus.
Yeah, man, it happens. I've done the same thing. I've popped that wall off too a handful of times, man. Obviously, this track being so abrasive, and from your driver's point of view, how awesome was it to race here tonight with all these guys, with these cars, obviously being the first race for Darlington with these cars for you guys. How much of a blast was it out there to drive those things here tonight?
It was total blast. I mean, these cars are way more fun to drive than those Cup cars are. And I felt like everybody was really patient tonight. I mean, I felt like the racing was really good. I mean, like I say, when Cole was saving his stuff and Devin was behind Cole, I was checking up behind them, and then I had Kevin run up behind me, and I felt like everybody was being pretty patient and letting the race come to us. And and then we could race it out towards the end.
Well, Dan, that being said here tonight, man, who do you got to thank here tonight for your third place run as we send you off on your way?
I'd like to thank Effective Web Solutions, CLICKIT RV, LSRTV, CRN Sports, and Northwest Racing Series, and all my guys that I sit here in the group with. I appreciate you all. Thank you.
It's Dan West Jr., driver of the number 55 machine, coming home third after his second place run on Monday. Now, we'll move over to the sun. Devin, man, you looked like you were going to come home with another Darlington win, coming home P1 on Monday. Unfortunately, just not enough there, man. What differently can you have done there those last handful of laps to catch Cole? Because I thought you were going to do it, man.
Yeah, I was doing all I could. I knew I had to save as much as I could, and I knew Cole was going to do it as well. So I just had to try to save a little bit more and try to make a push at the end. But I don't know. I was debating whether I should go around him and try to set my own pace, or save and try to outsave him. And I think running behind him, just all the aero wash just destroyed my right front tire. And so those last 15 laps, I was just tight as could be and really had no chance. So I don't know. Hindsight's 2020, but I feel like I ran an all right race. I got in the wall a few times, and that was pretty frustrating. But yeah, I don't know. Cole's ran a better race than I did, and that's what it all comes down to.
Yeah, and obviously, you won the race on Monday and you finished second here tonight, man. Obviously, the trucks being an open setup series, this being a fixed setup series. What's your favorite difference between the cars, or the car and the truck, and what do you think is harder to drive? Obviously, this being a fixed setup series, like I said, and then the other one being an open, but one having more horsepower, the other not. What's your favorite thing about these cars, and which one's your favorite?
I mean, the truck was fun winning that because you could run hard, and you could really figure out what you could do as a driver compared to everybody else. But I feel like I had more fun driving these things. I mean, I feel like I had a harder time driving them. They're definitely more difficult. Obviously, being on a fixed set, everybody is driving the same machine, and sometimes that machine suits other people's driving styles better than others. But I feel like this car was harder to drive, more of a driver's car early on in the run, and I don't know. I think these cars are a ton of fun to drive. Definitely a lot better than that Cup car was last year.
Well, man, that being said, after the second place run tonight, who you got to thank?
Series sponsor, CLICKIT RV. Appreciate them. LSRTV up in the booth. You guys are great. John, Jeff, Sean, Dad, everybody in my team. They're just kind of fun to be around, and it's pretty much where I show up every night. Then obviously my sponsors, Effective Web Solutions, Team System Hardwood, Merciless Distributing. Those guys have all helped me out for a long time.
Well, man, thank you for joining us. That's Devin West, driver of the number 5 machine tonight, coming home second after his first place run on Monday. And now we move over to the guy who stole the show, Cole Raz in the number 10 machine. Cole, man, when that caution came out, I got to say, I thought you were coming into the pit, and I was like, sure enough, he ain't coming into the pits. And then you psyched out Sean Brightsman there. Was that your intention, or did you just choose last minute to not actually pick?
No, I was just trying to have some fun with it. I knew Sean had to come down pit road just because he had stayed out, the caution before, because his green flag pit stop was a little later than everybody else. And, I figured try and bait a few more because you see 2 cars going down in line to pit road, and, your mind starts going crazy. But I was just trying to have fun with it. But, I love this place. This is easily my favorite racetrack on the service here, but it was a lot of fun, a lot of hard racing, really fun to battle out with the West team, and yeah, it was a good night.
Yeah, and obviously next week, from what I'm seeing currently, it looks like you guys are heading to, if I'm currently trying to look at the schedule as I'm conducting this interview right now, it looks like you guys are going to be heading to Gateway on the 17th. So obviously you taking in your knowledge from these cars and stuff like that, you head into Gateway. That track, you have to be really careful on the throttle and whatnot with these cars having so much horsepower, low downforce. What do you take from your knowledge from tonight's race and put it into Gateway next week? Because obviously this track, low downforce, high horsepower, you got to be really easy on the throttle. What do you take from tonight and move it on into Gateway?
I think you got to take the same approach of being patient and taking care of your stuff. I feel like this place isn't as technical, honestly, as Gateway. I feel like, you can have a little bit of a different approach getting in the corners here, and have it still work and have the same pace. But I feel like Gateway is pretty technical. I unfortunately won't be there. We're getting ready to go to Irwindale Speedway next weekend with the Spears SRL Southwest Tour. So I'm going to be in the shop all week, so I won't be able to have time to hop on here. But I think that's going to be a great race for you guys to broadcast, and I think whoever can take care of their stuff and just ultimately have a clean race and not make too many mistakes will be the one ended up in victory lane.
Well, Cole, thank you very much, man. Who you got to thank tonight for that first place run that you stole?
Yeah, big thank you to LSRTV, CLICKIT RV. I actually drove past their location there in Eastern Washington the other week, and it was beautiful. So everybody should go check that out. The Master Wrench, Wells Johnson, Magnus Rear Ends, McGonigal Race Engines, Ernest Performance, new sponsor this year, Autotown Buick GMC. So all you locals around here in Oregon, go check them out. They're in Gladstone. Let them know who sent you. But yeah, it was a fun night, and glad we can go dominate this one.
Well, Cole, thank you very much for joining us, man. Congratulations on your win. You and that number 10 group. Good luck to whatever you're doing here within the next upcoming week. And that being said, obviously, everybody else as well. Good race here tonight, folks. Obviously, we saw a lot of beating and banging, a lot of slipping and sliding and whatnot. It was sure enough a fun one. Cole Raz steals one away from the West boys. Kevin Smith, Tyler King, obviously. A lot of guys who had a lot of opportunities here tonight to try to do something. And that being said, obviously that's going to come to a conclusion for tonight's broadcast. Tomorrow we have Road to Pro, second to last race of round one. You could join me and Terry Radford and possibly a second guest, or a special guest tomorrow at 9 o'clock, simulcasting on FTN from the virtual Darlington Raceway. And then you could catch the Northwest Super Dirt late model guys. They're at Knoxville at 11:15, I believe, tomorrow night as well. And then obviously Monday night, trucks. Wednesday night, Fix Guys, Gateway, same time as usual. But with that being said, that's going to come to an end for our broadcast tonight. For iRacing and the Northwest Racing Series and all of our partners here at LSRTV, and my producer, Charles Wooten, Jeff Stabnow, and partner Wesley Outland, I'm Jason Rockfeld. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to tonight's coverage of the Northwest Racing CLICKIT RV Fix Series. And we're going to see you obviously live tomorrow for Road to Pro on Thursday night. Don't miss it. Have a good night, everybody.